Gentlemen.
Thank you.
Yes.
Wonderful.
Oh, that's it, huh? That's the talk? Well, not quite. I wanted to thank Paul for inviting me over today. That was very nice of him, and I like to give these talks. I've given a few of them over the years. And I wanted to introduce Thomas Morales over behind us there. He's doing a video of this meeting. So if you guys want to act out a little bit, why, that'd be great. He'll get that on the video. That's one of my grandchildren. They asked me to videotape this talk. I have 7 grandchildren, so that's what it boils down to. I got a basketball in the face yesterday over at Cal Poly, so if you don't understand something I'm saying, we'll attribute it to that getting smacked in the face. I play basketball over there, and if you have any questions during the talk, why, please just speak real loudly so I can hear you, and so it can be heard up there on the video, too, at the camera. Have any of you ever participated in the Senior Olympics or Senior Games? Pretty quiet. No? Okay. Have any of you worked at Cal Poly or CMC?
Yeah.
You did. What did you do?
I was on the staff.
At Cal Poly? Or?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was on the staff section of the operations section of the
Oh, yeah.
college.
Right. What did you retire out of there, or
Yep.
what year?
I think probably about 10 years, I guess.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, well, I worked at Cal Poly, so I was curious to know if anybody could catch up on any of my stories that I tell. You know, if you worked there, then I could be in trouble.
I was trying to keep the college going.
Yes, good. That's the idea. You worked for Kennedy then, or Bob Kennedy, or
No, yeah, after him.
Baker?
Baker.
Warren Baker?
Mhm.
Uh-huh. Yeah, he was only there 33 years, so.
Yeah, well.
No, that's good. I wanted to tell you a little about the National Senior Olympics. There are about 12,000 participants that will show up in Louisiana this year. They're 50 and over. There are 12,000 of them, and they participate in softball and golf and basketball and track and field and swimming and all of the other sports. It's pretty remarkable. In addition to that, there is a senior Olympic event up in St. George, Utah. Anybody from Utah? No? Pretty quiet? Okay. And they have about 12,000 people show up there. I did read today that they're going to have 180 volleyball teams show up there. Now, these are people 50 and over, so you guys would be in that category. I'm competing in the 80 to 85-year-old age group now, and they'll have about probably 15 or 20 teams in that age group come in from all over the country to participate. So you would all be eligible to, if you wanted to do that, you could do that. I'm not sure you want to do that, but you could do that. To show I'm not shooting the bull, I'd like to share with you some of these medals that I've won over the years. I don't know whether you can see this or not. This is the World Games up in St. George, Utah, and these are the flags of the different countries that participate up there. I don't know whether you can see that or not. I see Japan, Canada, England. Do you see Spain on there? You got any other names? I'm sort of low on my knowledge of flags. Germany. You can see that there's a lot of different people that come from all over the world to participate in this Senior Olympics. So 50 and up, if you're in that category, these are the people you'd be competing against from all over the world. In addition to that, I would like to give away a medal, if I can find it. Yeah, here it is. I'd like to give a medal away to the oldest person in the room. This medal is for the Nevada State Championships. I won the championship in Nevada this is from this year, I think. It's a big deal for us to get over there, my wife and I. But when we go, we participate, and it's held in Las Vegas. And they'll have, probably 300 or 400 people participate in the Nevada Senior Games. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and identify the oldest person in the room. Would anybody over 60 please raise their hand?
Okay.
That gentleman back there, you're not over 60, sir. You did raise your hand. Okay. Can you hear me okay back there? All right. So anybody over 65, please raise your hand. Damn. Okay. 70, over 70, please raise your hand. 80. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people over 80 out of this group? Wow. That's impressive. 81, if you're over 81, please raise your hand. 82, keep your hand up. Good Lord. 83. 84. I thought I'd be the oldest person in the room. I'm 83, but obviously I don't know what I'm talking about. 85. Keep your hand up. We got 3 people over 85. 86. Got down to 2. 87. 88. Good Lord. 89. How old are you, sir?
89.
Congratulations on being 89. That's damn good. And being here. Yeah, don't hurt me. You got a grip there.
When's your birthday, Vico?
What?
When's your birthday?
January the 5th.
You just made it then, didn't you?
Yeah,
You
1925.
beat me by 3 months.
Whoa, now let's not get in an argument here. This is all friendly. Yeah. No,
I'm not
no.
going to argue.
I'm going to give it to you, and I'm going to ask you to stay after the meeting if you don't mind. I'd like to have my picture taken with you. Would that be all right?
No, he's disqualified.
No, he's not disqualified. It won't take
I'm
long.
having my picture taken.
Here you are, sir.
Yeah, I heard that price, $5.
Here you are.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Yeah, could we give him a round of applause, please?
Hey.
All right. That's remarkable. Well, oh yeah, you're the biggest applauder in the room. Good for you. All right. No, that's good. Do it.
He's
So,
the youngest in the room, too.
Yeah, by far. Now that I've seen what's going on. Well, I'm going to also share with you, if you don't mind, these are some of the medals that I've won over the years in the Senior Olympics. Some of them are for the state championship, the national championship. I want to tell you a little story about that as we go on. And you can see that some of them are really nice. This California State Championship, the National Championship. Some of them are pretty minute. But anyway, I've been participating for about, I'm 83, so I've started about 50, so about 33 years, around in there. So that's all different kinds of, and I want to tell you a few stories about participating in the Senior Olympics, if you don't mind. I wanted also to talk about the competing, where we've competed. They have the nationals at different places. You have to fly to Florida to compete there, or you go fly to Wyoming or Minnesota, or they've got them all over the place, and I've tried to be at many of them, several of them, not all of them. Most of them around the state of California now is the best for me at 83 to get to them and compete. So it works out pretty good. My wife is congenial about that, I'm glad to say, because she could say, don't do that, and I would probably not do it. That's just the way it is. So it is worldwide competition. There's something else that happened the last 3 or 4 years that is sort of interesting, or to me it's interesting. When you come in to participate, when you compete in the Senior Olympics, they ask you to spit in a test tube. Why do they do that? Anybody in here?
Test.
Say it again.
Drug test.
Drug test. These are 50 and up to 102. Well, maybe they could be a drug test, but that isn't it. Thank you, though. Anybody else have an idea? They're checking your DNA. They're checking 12,000 athletes up at Stanford, the last big meet I was in. 12,000 people spit in test tubes, and they're finding out what makes these old people so competitive, or they're trying to. Does it have anything to do with your DNA? They also ask a lot of other questions by computer after you've participated. They ask, where do you live? They ask, how long did your parents live? All kinds of things like that. But they're trying to get some kind of a idea of why older people compete, why are these the ones that are competing, 12,000 of them. Just one little quick story. There was a lady, 102 years old. This is a good story for you, sir. She was in the 1,500 meter. And she got out on there, and everybody finished, and she walked the 1,500 meters. And as she came up to the finish line, everybody in the stands stood and applauded her. I mean, 102, and you can get out and take a walk like that around the track that many times. It was just really remarkable. It's heartwarming. Made me feel that maybe there's hope for all of us at 102, but I think she was a little unique and unusual. So up at Stanford, they think it's the genetics. They send it to the Stanford University labs, and they're checking the DNA now of these 12,000 athletes to see why are they still participating? What makes them a little oddball or unique or whatever the right word would be? Anyway, I thought that would be interesting for you to know that there is some kind of a DNA factor in all of this. I wanted to tell you a few stories about how surprising competitively older men are. I only participate again in basketball, so I can only tell you basketball stories. But we were over at Nevada State Championship. They had a team from Minnesota there, and they were a very good team. And it was half court, 3-on-3. I shouldn't say that it's full court. You couldn't. I could never participate. They had a 6'9" player. This was when we were in the 75-year-old category. 6'9". Did any of you know anybody in your youth that was 6 feet 9 inches tall? Anybody? No. I mean, I'd never seen a man that old and that big, 6'9". So we were playing 3-on-3, and I got switched off on him under the basket. And I'm 5'8" or something like that. And so I armbarred him. I got my arm on him and tried to hold him off the basket. And he turns like this and comes around and tries to hit me in the face with his elbow. I mean, these are 75-year-old men. What the hell is going on here? He misses me because I'm so short compared to him. He hits the top of my head. But the official calls it. The official says, that's illegal. And so I'm walking over to the free throw line. Those of you know basketball, you get a free throw. I get over to the free throw line, and I'm ready to shoot the basket, and he comes over and interrupts my shot. And he says, "I'm going to hurt you bad." Right out in front of there maybe 50 people watching the game and him doing that. So it just, again, how competitive he was that he wanted to, and then I talked to some of his teammates, and they said he does that in practice. So this guy was maybe deranged, I don't know, but 6'9", deranged, that didn't matter. He was so big, I didn't want to mess with him. Then you might know about the California State Championships. This was down in San Diego. Another 6'9" guy. It's surprising. We were about probably 78 years old then when we were competing. And he, down at the San Diego, was very upset because our guard, a little guard, about that big, tripped their guard. So he got really outraged about it. And he got over and was pushing our little guard around, and finally it all was done. And then the little guard tripped him. And he just blew up. He was just going to kill that guard. And, came over, and the ref got between them and said, "You go sit over there, and you go sit over there, and that's it. We won't have any more of this kind of thing going on." Well, I was taking the ball out of bounds, and I wasn't aware of what was going on around on the sidelines. And I've got the ball, and this guy comes behind me and brushes me, the big guy. And he's heading over towards our guard, who's sitting over where he's supposed to be on the bench. And he gets over there to the little guard, and the little guard is sitting here. And this guy reaches down to get his chair, and you can see he's going to take that chair and throw the little guard over backwards. Could have been really, very dangerous, really hurt some people. And the way it worked out, 2 LA police officers were working out on the court next to us, and they saw all of this evolving. And as he reached down to get him, they came up on either side of him. Some got him in some kind of an arm lock, got him up on his tippy toes, and walked him out of the gym. So they saved the little guy's life. But it's funny about big guys, they seem to be more bully prone or something to try and, again, let's get it straight. These are 70-year-old men. What in the world are they thinking that they're so out of control? I think the ultimate was up at Stanford. New Jersey team had called me to play for them, and there were 20 teams coming from all over the nation to play at Stanford for the national championship. And I said, you know, I've had my knee replaced. I'm 80, and you're in the 75-year-old group. I don't think I could really compete with. No, Don, you come on. We know about you. You come on. So I said, all right, I'll meet you up at Stanford. They said they needed a fourth guy, 3-on-3. They needed a fourth guy. So I went up, and everything was fine. And we played, I think it was 10 games in 3 days, and I found myself sleeping on the grass. I was so exhausted from these games. It was just physically almost impossible for me to keep up. So we get to the championship game, and it is we've won 8. That other team has won 8, and now the championship game. So we're getting ready. Our New Jersey guys are talking to me. They talk New Jersey talk. I understood them pretty well, but not completely. And the New Jersey guys were standing there, and the captain went over for some reason, and this big guy. There's another big guy. This guy was 7 feet tall in our age group, which was just almost impossible to believe anybody that big from our generation. I mean, and he had played for the Harlem Globetrotters. So we were very concerned about this 7-footer, you know. And he comes over to our captain like this. And this is about the height difference, too. Our captain is 6'2", and he's 7 feet. And he gets down right in his face, and he says, I'm going to bury your ass in the grass. So our captain is a little shell-shocked. You know, what's this guy doing? But he is from New Jersey. And I don't think you do that to New Jersey guys. Because he came over and talked to all the other New Jersey guys, and they got so enraged that this guy was trying to intimidate them that they tripped him, they pulled his pants, they jerked his shirt, they stepped on his feet. They worked him over good. The game has gone on now. We're down to the last minute of the game. And the guy that was guarding him fouls out. So the captain of the team, I'm sitting on the bench. These guys, you know, these New Jersey guys are playing. I'm sitting on the bench. And he says, Don, you're in. And my wife said the gym was dead silent because this was a big momentous point in the game. And I stood up and I said, oh, shit, really loud. And the whole place laughed. And so I went in, but they didn't ask me to guard the big guy because I couldn't have guarded a 7-foot. And we won the national championship. And I give those New Jersey guys all the credit. They were really, really good players and not to be intimidated. That 7-footer did not intimidate them one bit. So anyway, it shows what the competitiveness of old men. I don't know whether you guys are that way. I hope not, but if you are.
Depends on whether it's bridge or not.
Pardon me?
Depends on whether it's bridge.
Bridge, oh, well, yeah, maybe.
Everybody goes down.
Yeah, get in fights over bridge, I guess that's possible.
You don't bring a pistol, do you?
So that was one of the, again, about the competitiveness of older men. I want to tell you one other competitiveness. My wife was race walking. She's in race walking at 73 or something like that. So she's in the 70 to 75-year-old category. And it was up at the International Games in Palm Springs, and everything was going along real good. She was ready to go and race walking. And they put them out on the street, and so she's walking, and there's a guy about your age walking with her, walking fast along with my wife, and they get to the entrance of the track, and they've only got about 440 yards to go, and it looked like, you know, my wife was ahead by about 3 or 4 strides, so I thought that was going to be the end of it. And all of a sudden, this old guy who had been following my wife in the race, this long, many block race, broke into a run. You can't run in race walking. And he broke into a run because he was not going to let that woman beat him. And this is a 70-year-old man, or 70-something old man. He was not going to let my wife beat him. And he ran. He got disqualified because he ran. It was race walking. But again, the competitiveness of older men, it was surprising to me that they would do that. I think I have a couple of other stories I wanted to tell you about. There was a doctor that was giving a speech at the international games, and there was about a group of about 50 to 70 people in the room, and she was telling a story about an older man in his 80s, in his hundreds, 100-year-old man that was in the bicycle racing. And they had put a heart monitor on him and other monitors to see what was happening with his body as he competed, because here's a 100-year-old man in a competitive bicycle race situation. And she told this story, that they were monitoring him back at the main office, and boy, his heart was doing good, and they were so proud of him, and the family was there, and everything was going good. And he did that race, and then he got on his bike again for another bicycle race, and raced that, got off his bicycle, took 2 steps, and died. He died right there. So they were monitoring. They knew what was going on. They knew that his heart had given out on him. And she said, oh, and I was so sorry to have to tell the family about his death, 102, and he had died getting off his bicycle at the end of the race. And I raised my hand. I couldn't believe that she was saying that, because I said, I can't think of a better way to go. At 100, if you're 102, I mean, I'll go that way. If I can get that far and be in a race, in a bicycle race, and have that good physical attributes, that's the way I would like to go. Okay?
I have a question.
Yeah, please. If you have any questions, please jump in.
Has Stanford determined whether it's because of your mother or your father if you live to a certain age? In other words,
The genetics of the family?
right.
No, I don't know what the results are of the study, but I would think that that would be true. That if your mom and dad lived to be 100 and they were in good health, probably that's passed on to you genetically. But they're studying that to try and analyze what makes older people compete. Go ahead, I'm sorry, anything else?
I'm curious because I'm where I'm at because my mother lived to 87,
Yeah,
but my dad died at 69. So I'm telling myself I'm favoring my mother.
yes, I think you should say that. Did anybody have, and that other generation, your parents' generation, I think they died a lot earlier than this generation, your generation. I'm not sure. Does anybody have it? How old, do you mind if I ask you how old your parents were?
They were in their late 60s or 70s.
Wow, you've outlived your parents quite extensively then.
My mom died at 107.
107.
Oh,
Wow. So that's, and that generation, that was a miracle back in those days.
You got a long ways to go.
Yeah, that'd be a miracle for today's generation, actually. That's remarkable. Any other questions like that? Now's a good time. Yes, sir.
Why do you compete? You talk about other men that are competitive.
Yeah.
Why do you compete?
That's a very good question. I'm not sure. I got started on it when I was in college. I was a hurdler. I was placed third in the nation in the highs and low hurdles in junior college. And then I placed second in the 400-meter hurdles in the nation. And I think that started me off. And I was not able to control my my energies then. I really wanted to be competitive. It might have been in my youth. How many of you participated in sports in your youth? Would you put up your hands? Well, anybody basketball?
Yes.
Well, good. Anybody letter in basketball? There? Yeah, good for you. Maybe that's going to increase your lifespan for about 20 or 30 years.
It was a small school.
Well, that's all right, yeah. But there's a competitive nature that maybe weighs into that. I'm not sure about that.
I'm sure there is.
That's a very good
I
question.
still find myself competitive
Yeah,
in basketball, but in almost anything I do against somebody else.
yeah. Yeah, I think that might factor in. I hadn't even really thought of that being a factor. And so any other questions, please just throw them into me, please. I wanted to tell you just a story about my friend Tom Amberry, Dr. Tom Amberry. He holds the Guinness Book of World Records for free throws, consecutive free throws. He shot 2,430 in a row, which is pretty damn good. And he was in his late 50s when he did that. He played on some of my basketball teams. And Tom was called by the Lakers. I don't know whether any of you watch the Lakers or know about them. And you know who Shaq was? Do you know who Shaq is? Yeah, Shaq. So Shaq was on the Lakers then, and they called Tom and asked him to come down and help Shaq with his free throw shooting, because I think he was shooting about 23% or something like that. Very bad. So he went down, and he said that they met him at the airport and took him into the gym, and there was Shaq, and everything was going pretty good. And then Shaq tried to do what Tom was saying. Tom taught me there are 5 steps in his free throw shooting, and I believe in what he's told me. But Shaq was sort of arrogant, looking over his, from his 7-foot height down at this little guy that was trying to help him with his free throws. And Tom said that after an hour, Shaq turned to him and said, "Listen, man, I make them when I need to make them." And so that was it. He wasn't going to listen to Tom Embury. It just showed you that there is some arrogance in all of us, but that was exceptionally arrogant, I thought. Another guy that I know and has competed with me on some of my teams, Fred Newman. He competes in the age group just below mine. He holds the world records for 3 points in a row, 209, and consecutive free throws with his eyes covered at 88. So those numbers are remarkable. This is an older man that he could do that. Well, gentlemen, I think that's about it. How am I doing on time?
You're doing fine, but I have a question.
Yes, please, go
How
ahead.
do you shoot your free throws? 2 hand, 1 hand?
One hand, left-handed. Tom told me there are 5 steps. I think I can remember all of them. One is look at the back of the rim. Put 1 foot on the free throw line all the time in exactly the same place. Have a mantra in your mind. Mine is wrist, hand, finger, arch, rim. A mantra, that so you aren't distracted by the crowd or people yelling at you or whatever. So I believe in what Tom said, and he's proven that he can do it. That he did it at an advanced age as well. Pretty remarkable. Yes, sir.
What kind of exercise routine do you?
I'm afraid at 83 I'm not as good as I used to be about that. I go over to Cal Poly and play basketball against the students in shooting competitions. Yeah, that's all I do. I don't. They've got a wonderful weight room over there. They have a running track, indoor track. I don't do that. I'm sorry to say I don't do that. I wish I could or would. What other sports do you guys participate in, or do you?
Football,
Pardon me?
football.
You did participate in football.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought you were saying you participated now.
Oh,
No,
not
okay.
now.
You did participate. Where did you? How did you do? Did you letter?
I lettered, yeah.
And what school was that?
San Jose and Stanford.
At Stanford.
Did my master's at Stanford.
And you participated in?
Not football there, no.
Oh.
I was already out then.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
San Jose.
There was a guy that was the captain of our team from Stanford. I can't pick up his name now. He graduated. He played football and basketball. He went into the pros. He was a great pro player. It was probably right in your generation, too, because he played on one of my teams. Damn. I'm sorry I can't pull his name up. But he was a great athlete, and at Stanford at that time, he was considered one of the best athletes in the United States. Okay, well, gentlemen, probably that's about it. I might tell you one other. Do I have time for one more story? I had a team of Cal Poly kids, a couple of pros, a couple of other JC players from the local area. We had a really good team, and I was invited to play the prisoners out at CMC. That's why I asked if any of you worked out there. And I said yes, and I found out that the betting had been tremendous out there among the inmates, because they had a really good team. They had 2 all-city players out of Los Angeles, 2 from San Francisco, and they were really good prison team of prisoners. So we went in. They met a guy 6'9", another 6'9" guy, met us at the gate. We came in, He took us around to the court. It was a concrete court, seated about 300. I now know that they've closed that, and it's now all inmate housing, with bunks set in there 3 high. But at that time, they had room to have basketball team. So we went in. We got into the gym. I looked down at the other end of the court, and there was a guy shooting baskets down there. And the big guy that was showing us around said, he was an inmate too. He said, "You guys go shoot down there." I said, "Well, there's a guy shooting down there. I don't think we should warm up there." He says, "I'll take care of it." He walked down the length of the court. Now he's 6'9". This other guy was pretty big. The 6'9"er, I could hear him talking to this guy, sort of arguing with him or something. And suddenly he reached out with a hand, maybe that big, got him by the face, and pulled him forward. And this is another inmate, and threw him back, and he stumbled over the bench and fell down. He got up and left the gym. I'm thinking, damn, we're in the prison here. This could be nasty. This could be really nasty. So anyway, we went ahead with our game, and there was a guy behind me, an inmate, that was talking about my bald head the whole game. I thought maybe there were 500 inmates in the building, by the way, in the stands around the game, and there was one guard down at the door, which I didn't like one damn bit. So after that incident, I realized this could be a really touchy situation. There was a guy behind me yelling at me and telling me about my bald head the whole game. Pissed me off. And I was going to go up and talk to him about it, but then I thought, I better not go up there. He was up about 5 rows. I'll let that go. So I didn't go up and call him out. But as I looked around the room, and this is, I think maybe you, if you haven't been in the CMC, you wouldn't understand this. But there were all the black inmates were sitting together over here, all the Hispanics sitting over here, all the whites sitting over here, and they were just absolutely self-segregated. There was nobody sitting outside of their racial group. Yes, sir.
Excuse me. Tell you a story of Folsom.
All right.
We went up there to play baseball one year, been a few years ago. You should have heard them. Like what you're saying, all kinds of names.
Oh yeah.
Well, they have nothing else to do.
Yeah.
What else can they do?
And I didn't go up in the stands, and you probably didn't either.
No.
No, I wouldn't.
Stay away from them.
That was not a good idea.
Fast.
So then there was another group, and I didn't realize that they were inmates dressed as cheerleaders. So that they were dancing around, and they had sort of dresses on or short something, long shirts, I guess. So that was a whole other group of, but so they had these inmates all around. So the game goes on. At halftime, we're up 5. And I see this big guy again, the one I'm talking about, the big 6'9" guy that got the guy by the face. He goes over, and he puts his arm around the 3 officials. The 3 officials are all inmates. I should point that out. And I think what he said to him was, "Man, you're never going to see these guys again. You're going to see me every day for the rest of your time in here." And I think we never got a call the rest of the game. I think those officials said, "Whoa, wait a minute. Yeah, I don't want to run into this guy again." And there was a lot of money bet. So there was a lot of things going on. I didn't realize what exactly was going on at the prison, but it was a very interesting experience.
So did they end up beating you?
They did by 5. Yeah, but I'll tell you, I was grateful to get out of there. Yeah, I mean, it was all right with me. Okay, well, gentlemen, I think I've just about worn you out. I think there was one other little thing I wanted to tell you, if I can remember what it is. It had to do, when I was driving down here. My wife called me on the phone, the freeway. I was driving, and she said, Don, be careful out there. There's some guy driving the wrong way on the freeway. I says, no, shit. I says, there isn't one guy. There's hundreds of people driving the wrong way on the freeway. Well, I just throw that in. Okay, I think that's it, and unless there's any other questions, gentlemen, I thank you very much for your attention. Thank you very much.